Hello, my sweet friends. So today we get to make something, one of my favorite projects probably of the school year, and it is egg carton witches. It's true. Now, you will notice in your bag this week that you have some supplies, of course, and some of those supplies for this particular project are a witch head. You might not see it yet, but it's there. There's two eyes, her nose right there, and her chin. So that's one of the things. You'll also notice that in there's a bag, and it has a container in there of green paint. So you're going to be very careful with that. Hopefully you have a paintbrush to use. You will also notice that there's a hat, a witch's hat, which is going to go on her head. Dee, dee, dee. And you're going to decorate that hat as well. And then, of course, let me just grab a tray. I forgot the tray. Pour out all the supplies. So inside of that bag, there's this bag, and in that bag, there's lots of things. So you're just going to dump it all out in a bowl or a tray so you can see what you have, okay? I'm going to take each item out so you can see it. Actually, maybe I'll put it, I won't even put this newspaper out yet. How about that? All right, hopefully that's easy to see. All right, so you have cotton balls, 2 cotton balls. And on those cotton balls, you're going to add, with glue, you're going to be adding 2 eyeballs. You got an eyeball on each one, of course, because you have 2 eyes on face. Then you will also notice, and it's a good idea to go ahead and glue that pretty early on in the project, but we got some witch hair. Some of you will have red hair, some of you will have black hair. They're all different. You will notice there's a ribbon that goes around the witch's hat. And then there's a bunch of things to decorate the witch's hat, okay? So you got a fall leaf, like a leaf like that. There's probably a couple flowers you could use to adorn the hat with. You got a pumpkin, a pumpkin here. And, oops, this one has a couple extra eyeballs. Uh-oh, I hope that doesn't mean that there was one less in somebody else's eyeball, in someone else's package. Oh, no, I better double check on those. And then you're going to notice there's a little mouth, a little red strip of paper. That's for the mouth. And we have a feather. Again, the flowers, the feathers, they might be different colors than the ones you see here. But then there's also going to be a couple of spooky spiders. See those spiders like this? Oh, I don't know if you could see them. So that's one. We got 2 spiders. They're both different sizes. You got a bat and 3 teeny little ants. Really small. You can barely see them. I don't think you could even see them at all until you open your bag. I will put them on here. So I almost lost mine. Now these little things like that, you don't have to use them if you don't want. It's totally fine. If you want to make it more pretty and not spooky like Halloween, that's fine. You do it however you want, okay? So I have also, you'll notice, there's some shapes that are different colors in there. They're jewels. So I have a pink circle. I have a blue oval. I have a green square, a golden heart, and a red heart. But you will find yours, you should have different colors and different shapes of things, okay? Just like mine, but they may be different ones than what I have. Okay, so now we'll get into it. So now I'm going to get my tray back. Ah. Before I do that, I'm going to move all these things out of my way now that you have seen them. And if you remember, I mentioned that we will want to glue those eyeballs first so they will dry. We want to do that, and we want to paint our witch's head right in the beginning so they will have time to dry. All right, so I'm moving all this stuff off of here. You could put some of the ants on her nose. You could put them on her hat, but it's a black hat, so it might be hard to see unless you put it on top of a flower or some other item. But that doesn't probably make much sense yet, but it will. All right, so a work surface is always a good idea when doing a messy project like this. And what did I do with my brush? I know I had a brush here. Here it is. Okay. So if you recall, there's also this paint. So I'm going to take it out of my bag. I'm going to save that bag and return it. And we could reuse it because it makes less garbage that way. All right. Well, temporarily anyways. So you're going to very carefully take off your lid. You're going to notice that there's some paint on the lid. I like to use that paint too. But when you are ready to start painting, oops. And the first thing we're going to do is paint. Then we will glue the eyeballs. So, but the paint is really important. You're going to want that to dry before you do much else with the head. Now it's a really good idea to paint the entire thing. But if you add a lot of paint, you're going to want to give it quite a while to dry, like maybe even a whole day. Definitely a few hours, maybe even just an hour if it's not too thick. All right, so I'm just going inside. I'm going all inside of her where the eye sockets are. You'll see this is going to be her nose. See how it sticks out like that? And this is her chin down here. So you're going to get all that nice and green. Now, it's mostly stories when you hear about witches being green like this. But, because not all witches are bad. In a lot of the stories that you hear, you will hear them as being a character that isn't very kind. But I like to think of witches as very kind. Because I think they were mistreated women a long time ago. And I have a wonderful song that where you will learn a little bit more about witches. I sang it the other day during Circle, but I will share it again with you here as I do this project. See, if you notice, I'm getting almost all the areas. It looks like you're going to have a lot of leftover paint. So maybe if you have your own egg cartons, you can make more than one witch. Okay, and if you notice on the sides and the bottom of it, that's still her face. So if you have the time to let it dry, you can paint that bottom side. You can do that. But here's how the song goes, okay? Who were the witches and where did they come from? Maybe your great-great-grandmother was one. Witches were wise, wise women, they say. There's even some witches still living today. When women had babies, the witches were there to love and to hold them and give them sweet care. Witches knew all about the flowers and trees, how to use their roots and how to use their leaves. When people grew weary from hard-working days, the witches would soothe them in so many ways. Witches knew stories about how life began. Do you wish you could meet one? Well, maybe you can. Who were the witches? There's another version of that song, which I'm not going to sing today, but it's a much darker version. It sounds darker. It sounds a little bit more, who were the witches and where did they come from? Maybe your great-great-grandmother was one. Something like that. All right, this one's almost done. Now, I don't have to do the very back part, but just as long as I do the sides, the part where you will see it if it's hanging on the wall or something like that. Okay? All right. So, as you see, I have it on my finger, so that might happen. And I am going to put the lid back on my paint. And I'm going to move it out of the way. And I'm going to even put my brush right into a jar with water so that it's soaking. All right. And I'm going to rinse my hands off. And you should do the same. Take the opportunity to go and wash your hands if it's on your hands. Okay? And then come right back. And then what we're going to do is, well, before you walk away to go wash your hands, we'll just move this whole thing off to the side. Okay, so now it's off to the side. All right. Now, the next thing you're going to do is you could use a paper towel or another newspaper or something else if you'd like, because we're going to be using glue now. And the glue, you definitely don't want to get on a table. And I definitely don't want to get it on our felt board that is underneath this red tray. Okay, so there's a piece of newspaper. I'm putting it on here. And now, as I mentioned before, there's one thing I want to do right away, so it will have time to dry also. And that is the eyeballs. Now, you could use anything for eyeballs. This is just what I am offering you today. But you can use acorn caps, you know, the acorn caps that looks like little hats sometimes. Those make great eyeballs. And, but I have these ones here, and I have my glue. And I'm just going to use some Elmer's glue. If a parent is nearby and they have a glue gun that they're willing to work on this project with you, then by all means, as long as it's very supervised. But Elmer's glue is going to be perfect. It's perfectly fine as well. All right, so I'm going to put it right on top, that little eye, the wiggly eye, right on top of that. Right there. Okay, so there they are. See? Yeah, I'm going to put them over here just like that to dry. Oops. Okay. Now, on my tray again, I have a bunch of things. Soon I will be adding this to the witch, but I don't want to add her hair to her head until that paint is dry. So we're going to wait on that, okay? And then I have this. So I think the first thing I'm going to start with on the hat is decorating near the brim of the hat. So I kind of want this to go around it. And I might want it to, in the back, I might want it to cross over a little bit because it's a little bit longer. You can have it however you want. This part's up to you. Completely up to you. Sometimes it's fun to see it have a little X in the back, like kind of like that. Or it could be the front too. It doesn't really matter. Front, back, doesn't. Whatever you prefer. So once you know how you want to have it, then you could just pull it out barely, just a little bit away from the hat. And then you could just add some glue. So I'm just going to go like this. I'm just going to add some glue like that. I'm going to go around right underneath that ribbon, just like one row of glue. And if you want to see what that looks like, I'll move the ribbon temporarily. See, it's kind of like that. Okay. I just found that it was easier to do it with the ribbon, but you could take it off and try to do it all the way around the bottom too, if you'd like. Okay. Well, yes, it's not quite laying right now that I moved it, but that's okay. I'm going to slide it down. There's music happening outside of the co-op right now on this lovely afternoon. Okay. Live music even. Okay, so now that once your ribbon's around your hat, then you could start decorating with some of the other items that are in that bag or on your tray if you have it already dumped it. All right, so I have a leaf, I have 2 flowers, I have a feather. The feather can go off onto the side maybe. Some jewels, right, like I said earlier. And this is going to be one of those type of projects where you're going to just want to do the dot dot, not a lot. You want enough, but especially under those jewels, just a dot. Okay, now you're going to notice there's a sticker, and it's a pumpkin sticker, and I'm going to just put it on my witch's hat. I'm just going to put it right in the back. So I just did it right here, like that. You can do it wherever you want. You don't even have to use it if you don't want. You could do it, put it on something else if you want. The other thing I'm not going to use yet is that mouth. That I'm going to put with the hair because I want to save that for later. I might even want to save one of these black spiders, ants, or bat to put on her nose or something silly like that. I could put it on the brim of the hat and then you will be able to see it. So that's what I think I will do that. Why don't I do that now? I'll just do it now. How about that? So right now I'm just putting a dot right there. I'm going to put one there. I'm going to put one on 3 sides. I might need more than that, but we'll see. I think I want to put this big one. Uh-oh, I probably did not put enough. No, I don't want to put that one there yet because it won't quite fit there. Maybe I will put the bat there. Ha ha ha. That's a good idea. All right, I think I actually need to add more glue to it. So I put some on the back of the bat, and then I'm going to stick it right there in about the middle or so. It might not be quite the middle, but hopefully it's middle enough. Okay, and then I sort of want to decorate her hat. Do I want to go like that maybe? Maybe I want to put the big yellow one right there in the front. Yeah, I think I want to do that. All right. So this is called adorning your hat. You're just going to adorn your hat however you want. So I'm going to put some glue right on each petal. You could do dot, dot, not a lot, or you could just slide it, like a little line of it. And then, very carefully, you're going to put it on your hat. Now, what I mean by carefully is it might get all over your fingers. You want to be very careful not to let it get on your fingers too much, but then you'll have to wash them again before you continue. And if you have a temperamental flower petal like mine was a little bit, you might have to guide it a little bit. So here's how I have mine so far. I think I'm going to put the other flower right on top of that one. This one I'm going to just put in a circle right around there like that. I'm just going to stick it right on that other flower, right in the middle of that other flower, about. So there it is. You can see the bat below. I think you could see the bat below. All right, and then the feather, I think I'm going to just stick that in the the ribbon right below it. There might be enough glue there already. Hopefully there's enough glue there already. If not, add some more glue just to the tip of your feather. I kind of wanted it to stick out though, a little bit. There we go, that might work. That's my feathers like that. Dee-dee-dee. All right, now do I want to add this big spider to the, I'll put it on top of the pumpkin so I could see it. Easy. See, there it is. It's on the back of the pumpkin head. All right, now, if you want, you can add your jewels on the brim or anywhere, but you could also do your little ants. I'm going to do the ants. I'm going to do 2 of the ants on the hat. And I'm going to do 1 on her nose, I think. And then I'm also going to do a couple of the jewels on her ribbon also. I'm doing, yeah, that's what I'll do. All right, so far that's how it's looking, but I think I'm almost ready to add, oop, her spider slid down. That's another thing that will happen, probably, and that's, okay, you just have to know that that is happening and then fix it before you walk away from it when you're letting it dry. So one of those little, I gotta save one of those ants for her nose. Oops, uh-oh, I think I added too much glue that time. All right, almost done with this part of the project. So it's slowly coming together. And if you have something around your house that you want to use to help decorate it, you're of course welcome to do that. This is just what I put together for you for now. Let's see, I'm putting my jewels right on the ribbon. And I don't even care if my hearts are upside down. You might care, but I'm just putting them on. All right. And then, is there anything else I want for her hat? I think it's looking good. Just make sure that if you wanted something right, like the spider on there, make sure it's not sliding down right now. I'm going to put the other spider, the second spider, right in the middle of that flower. Yeah. That's what I'm going to do right there. You might want to put a jewel right in the middle of the flower if you want, but that looks kind of fun. Oops. Now, my computer just did something strange. Sorry about that. Okay, so there's the hat so far. Oh, my spider slid down. Keeps wanting to get away from me. I better put enough glue on that guy. Now, the other thing I could do is, if I have the time, if you have the time, you could just keep checking on it. Make sure if it does slide, just add a little bit more glue, but check all those kind of things, all those little insects, because they might, those are the things that aren't holding on very well, or the bat. I think it's going to be okay. All right, so now I'm going to let that dry, okay? Okay, now check on your paint and see how wet it is. If it's very wet, then just wait for now, okay? And then you can get back to it. And wait, I'm looking for something because I what did I do with that? I am looking. Of course, I can't find it. That's silly. Chantal, you're so silly. Where? I know I have. Oh, here it is. Put it up higher. Okay. So remember, I had done my witch's hat, but guess what? It's too wet right now. But I did this one earlier, so I'm going to use that one. The only thing you'll notice on this one is I wasn't real good about doing the sides, so pretend that's not true. All right. Now, of course, I just picked up mine and it has a little green paint on my hands. And you want to be careful with that because you don't want, especially if you have white hair like mine. All right, so one of the first things I'm going to do with the face is I'm going to put in her mouth. I'm going to put in her mouth. The way I'm going to do that is you'll notice it's kind of folded inward a little bit. Do it on the under part of it so that it will rest well where her mouth will go. So I just put some glue right on the back of this thing, okay? And now I'm going to very carefully, first I'm going to look at this very carefully and see if I could tell where the mouth goes. I think it's going to go right under the nose. And I'm just going to do that, and then I'm going to fold it right into place. Okay, so it's kind of like that. Okay. Now, if it's too long for you, you're welcome to cut it shorter if you want. If you want it just to be a smaller mouth. But that's how mine is going to be, and she's smiling. Yeah. All right. Now I'm also going to, I think those eyes are probably ready too by now. I'm going to look at them, and then I'm just going to add some glue right in her eye socket. I'm just going to go right in there. I'm just going to go, come on, put a good amount of it. I'm just going to squeeze it in there. Do the same. Okay, and then make sure that the wiggly part is showing when you put it on. Okay, so it's like kind of like that. Her eyes are like that. Now you don't have to use the wiggly eyes. I'm just using the they're there in case you want to. I mean the cotton balls for the, you could use just wiggly eyes and no cotton ball if you'd rather. That's fine if you do. All right, now I have one more. I think I said I wanted to do a little note on her nose. I wanted to do one of these little ants, and I have them there. A little ant. I'm going to put it on her nose. Does that tickle? It looks so silly. Doesn't it look silly? I'm not sure how I feel about those cotton balls in there. What do you think? Do you think they're too big? I think they might be too big, but that's okay. If you don't want yours as big as mine, cut them in half maybe first. Maybe that would be better. All right. All right, now the next thing I want to do is add her hair. Now this part's a little bit tricky. You will notice I tied a knot right in the middle. And you are going to you're going to place it on her head, right? And it's going to hang over. It's going to kind of go hang over like that. Sort of like that. Some of yours might be longer than mine. Mine is just this length right now. And then you're going to go, before you add the glue, you're just going to kind of want to make it so that it's hanging down in the front. It doesn't really matter the sides as much. I mean the back side. You kind of just twist it a little bit so it's kind of like, it's going to sort of be like that. So you kind of know where you need to put the glue. So I'm just going to add glue right on the egg carton, all underneath that hair. All right, and I'm going to put it there. I'm going to stick it right in that glue. Some of it's going to be touching the glue and some of it won't be, but hopefully the ones that are touching the glue will be enough to hold it all in place. Okay, now we're just going to kind of let it sit for a moment. Okay, just make sure that it's in the glue. All right, we're going to just let it rest for a moment so that it can kind of stick. And soon we're going to be adding the little witch's hat. It's going to kind of be like, yeah. Now, one of the things that you're welcome to do is you could put a body on it. We're not going to put a body on it right now, but you're welcome to put a body on it. You could do that with cardboard. You can cut out arms and the actual torso, and then just put fabric to make it look like a witch's dress. You could even cut out a black trash bag. That could be a good witch's dress. And some little striped socks would be really cute. Some witch boots would be really fun too. And that is pretty much it. The only other thing that I have to do is, of course, glue the hat on, which I want to do, but I don't want to do yet. I'm going to kind of wait on that because I really want to make sure that everything on this part is, that the hair is on well. Because you'll notice that it's thin. See, it's not very thick. And the hole of the hat is much wider. So when you glue it on there, there's going to be some empty spots. Like it's going to be hollow. So you're going to want to put the glue in the very right spot. And it'll probably be just on this brim and the opposite brim. The underside of the brim. Okay? Yeah. Actually, I'll show you exactly where you should do it. Remember where the front is of your hat. And once you know that, you're going to just do it, put glue right on each side. You're just going to go like that. I'm pretty sure I'm doing it in the right spot. I hope I'm doing it in the right spot. I'm not sure if this is the best way to show you, but hopefully it is the fine way to show you. And it's okay if it's dripping because, oops, uh-oh, I lost one of my spiders. And that's okay. I'm just going to go like this for now. But the tricky part is that we're going to have to lean it against something while it's drying. Once it's dry, it's going to be perfect. It's going to be on there. It's not going to move. It's going to be just the way you want it. But there's your little witchy. Little witchy. I'm not sure if I like well, I like it just fine. But here's my spider. I have to reattach because it came off. Let's see the back side of the spider. Da-da-da. So, and that is our little witch, our little egg carton witch. Okay. Love you. Sorry if this was a longer video, but there was lots to do with this one. All right. I can't wait to see yours. Please show this one to me on Friday. Okay. Take care. Bye.